Okay, so today we want to talk about self-care because this is importante. I remember working as an RA in college. I remember working at Taco Bell in high school, and I had never heard of self-care before I was in my master's program and wanting to be a therapist and like the importance of self-care. So I guess I'll share my story first. So
Yeah, go for it.
Samantha and I were in the same internship group, like cohort for, we got supervised at school for our internship. And so we would talk about what's going on with us. And as I don't know if you guys know, but we were in school for becoming marriage and family therapists. So I worked at you worked at a drug treatment center too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my internship was at a drug treatment center. So I would see clients who were struggling with addiction and would help out in whatever capacity I could at the internship place I had. So in one of my supervisions at SAM, our teacher, Joy Quick, who is amazing.
Shout out to Joy.
Shout out to Joy, marriage, family therapist, guru, amazing. She asked me, what do you do for self-care? And at that time, I was working at my internship for free. I was working full time at that house I told you guys about last time, where I lived as a house mom for former foster youth females. And did I have another job? No, that was it. And I was in school. And I told her, I watch TV for my self care. And she was like, oh, we're gonna work on that, Chas. We're gonna work on that. And I remember like, oh man, I remember thinking like, oh no, I'm not doing it right. Like that was the only, and I thought it was self-care because it was the only time that I really like focused on myself. Mm-hmm. Right? All the other times I was like doing homework. I was addressing the issues in my house that I was running and managing. I was being present as a counselor at the treatment center. I was with my family and focusing on them, right? I was with my friends or thinking about them and what they were doing and being present with them. So it really, like, my TV time was the only time that I felt like I was with myself. And now I know differently. Like, so the transformation for me totally is in self-care is one, applying the love languages to the concept of self-care was a huge realization and move forward for me, and a step forward for me in my self-care. I learned that that my love language primarily is words of affirmation and acts of service. So those are my top two primary languages, and I speak them fluently. And when I realized that that's the love that I wanted from the world, I also spinned it on its head and was like, how do I give that to myself? Mm-hmm. So for words of affirmation, I started writing letters to myself. I started writing little positive notes to myself. I started doing mirror affirmations that Louise Hay talked about, that I learned about through that. And I started embracing when people would give me compliments instead of brushing them off or like minimizing the compliments. I started like really trying to take them in and like feel them. So, and that was, and acts of service, that one, doing things for myself, but like making my to-do list and checking things off that I want to do for me. And the second thing, besides besides love languages in my transformation of self-care, is that I realized that TV was not resting. Mm-hmm. I thought TV was resting because it was just like I didn't have to think. I wasn't moving my body. I was just sitting down. But I realize now that resting behaviors actually make you feel energized.
And you're right. They restore your energy.
They restore your energy. And watching TV is entertainment. It's not resting. Yeah. Because it does not restore your energy, or mine. It does not restore my energy. It makes me feel more tired, or it's a thing.
And it's a good like numbing, zoning out type of the tool.
It is a definite yeah, entertainment tool. Definitely. Sorry, thirsty. But yeah, that is the way that I feel like I have like transformed self-care. And if any of you guys can relate to thinking TV is self-care, then you are my people.
So for me, when I was growing up, my understanding of self-care was going to the salon, getting your nails done, putting on makeup. It was attached to a lot of vanity. And my mom was a very simple woman who didn't put on much makeup, didn't encourage me to use makeup at all. So it was a very your natural beauty, don't ever, try to make yourself what you're not. And that kind of mindset was being instilled in me. So in essence, self-care had a negative connotation to it growing up because it was attached to beauty regimens that were then looked down upon in my family, or at least for my mom. And so when the shift for me, because I would attach self-care to vanity, was okay, so if I'm taking care of myself, I'm conceited, like what? The the shift did come after I realized what codependency was. And I know this might sound like an unrelated topic, but I think it's so related that people don't even know. And many of us, I believe, grow up to be caregivers, and we love to help others and do for others. And this selflessness, we think, is what comes through, right? And I relate to that on so many levels. So it's almost the put on the oxygen mask on your kids and family and friends and strangers and neighbors and everybody but yourself first mentality. But we're learning to put the oxygen mask on ourselves before we help save anybody else. And that was a whole new concept for me. And I also had to repattern my codependency paradigm, my codependency limiting belief, in order to tap into true self-care. And what I mean by that is I societally, I feel like, or I don't know if it's just local culture or just in the world in general, but I can speak for just myself, that I was brought up to put other needs before my own. And that was being a good person, that was taking, I don't know, some odd twisted way that was taking care of myself. Like, I don't know. And
it wasn't even a thing of taking care of
good.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like it felt good to help other people. So it was almost like that twisted version of self-care, right? Because it feels good, but I was looking to other people to confirm my worth. I was looking to other people to validate my strengths and weaknesses and goods and bads and ups and downs, right? And that external validation that I used in replace of self-love, self-care, really became toxic at a certain point, even to the point of me almost getting a divorce, me feeling like a bad mom. Like, there was just so many different ways it played out. And until I was pretty much, this was after I had my heart condition, I had my procedure to fix it. My marriage was about to fall apart. I felt like a crappy mom. I had 3 girls. I felt like a bad daughter. I was very rebellious in my high school years too, and a bad granddaughter. There was just like so many things that was, I was really in a dark place, and something clicked, and I was like, I never put myself first. And it felt so selfish, so counterintuitive, but I realized that if I didn't put myself first, if I didn't take care of myself first and foremost, because the only person that is ultimately responsible for taking care of me is me, that every other relationship would crash and burn beneath it.
Yeah. What should we ask people to comment on?
What are your self-care activities?
Yes, let's spread some good ideas that people do. Thanks, everybody. See
Thank
you next
you.
Wednesday.